The lights of the America's Got Talent stage were blinding, brighter than anything the young boy had ever seen back home. He stood very still at the center of the stage, hands clasped tightly in front of him, trying to steady his breathing. His name was Miguel Santos, just 11 years old, born in a small coastal town in the Philippines where electricity sometimes failed, but hope never did. The massive AGT logo behind him glowed like a doorway to another world, one he never imagined he would enter. The audience murmured softly, unsure what to expect from a child so small standing alone in such a big place. Terry Crews knelt beside him and asked the familiar questions. Miguel answered politely, his accent gentle but clear. When asked why he came all the way to America, his voice shook just a little as he said he came to sing for his parents, for his country, and for every Filipino child who dreamed beyond the ocean. Simon Cowell leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, curious but cautious. He had seen thousands of children. Most were talented. Few were unforgettable. Miguel explained that he would sing Lupang Hinirang, the national anthem of the Philippines. A ripple moved through the crowd. Some looked confused. Others smiled politely. Singing a national anthem on a talent show was risky. Singing one from another country, even more so. One judge gently asked if he was sure. Miguel nodded without hesitation. He said this song was his heart. As the music began, there was no dramatic orchestra, no heavy arrangement. Just a simple instrumental track, quiet and respectful. Miguel closed his eyes. And then he sang. The first note was soft, almost fragile, like a prayer whispered in the dark. His voice carried an innocence that silenced the room instantly. People leaned forward in their seats. The chatter stopped. Even the cameramen slowed their movements. As Miguel continued, his voice grew stronger, fuller, carrying the weight of history, sacrifice, and pride far beyond his years. He sang not as a performer, but as a messenger. For Filipino viewers watching around the world, tears came instantly. The words spoke of land, freedom, and a soul unbroken. For American viewers unfamiliar with the language, something else happened. They felt it. They may not have understood the words, but they understood the emotion. The longing, the dignity, the courage. Halfway through the song, the camera cut to Simon Cowell. His posture had changed. His arms were no longer crossed. His jaw was tight. His eyes followed the boy with an intensity rarely seen. He wasn't judging technique anymore. He was listening as a human being. Then came the first twist. Miguel's voice cracked. For a split second, the audience thought the moment might collapse. His breathing faltered. His shoulders trembled. The music continued, but Miguel stopped singing. Silence fell heavy across the room. Tears rolled down his face. The boy stood there, shaking, fighting something deeper than stage fright. Terry Crews stepped forward instinctively, but Miguel raised his hand gently, asking for a moment. Into the microphone, through tears, he spoke. He said his father used to sing this anthem to him every morning before school. His father was an overseas worker who left for years at a time to provide for the family. 2 months ago, his father passed away unexpectedly while working abroad. Miguel said this was the first time he was singing the anthem without hearing his father's voice beside him. The audience broke into sobs. Some stood. Some covered their mouths. Simon Cowell looked down, blinking hard. Miguel wiped his face, took a breath, and said he wanted to finish. The music restarted from where it stopped. What happened next changed everything. Miguel sang the final lines with a strength that felt almost supernatural. His small frame seemed to carry the voices of millions. The anthem soared, not loud, but powerful. When the final note faded, there was a moment of absolute silence, followed by an eruption. The audience rose to their feet in a standing ovation that felt endless. The judges stood too. Heidi Klum had tears streaming down her face. Sofia Vergara pressed her hand to her chest. Howie Mandel shook his head in disbelief. Then Simon Cowell stood. This alone was rare. When the applause finally quieted, Simon leaned toward the microphone. His voice was softer than usual. He said he had heard many national anthems in his life, but he had never felt one the way he felt that performance. He said Miguel didn't just sing for the Philippines. He sang for every immigrant family, every child missing a parent, every person who believes in something bigger than themselves. Then came the second twist. Simon revealed that his own father had passed away years ago, and music was one of the few things that helped him survive that loss. He said watching Miguel sing through grief reminded him why this show exists. His voice broke. Simon Cowell, the toughest judge on television, wiped his eyes. The crowd gasped when Terry Crews walked to the judges' table and pressed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti exploded from the ceiling. Miguel fell to his knees, overwhelmed, crying openly now. Terry hugged him tightly. The judges joined on stage. The audience chanted his name. But the story did not end there. In the weeks that followed, Miguel's audition went viral worldwide. Schools in the Philippines played the video during assemblies. Filipino communities across America gathered to watch together, many seeing their own sacrifices reflected in a single child's voice. Veterans wrote letters saying they felt honored hearing another nation's anthem sung with such respect on American soil. During the live shows, Miguel continued to perform songs that blended cultures, languages, and stories. He sang English ballads, Filipino folk songs, and even original music inspired by his father. Each performance carried emotional depth beyond his age. In the finals, Miguel did something unexpected. Instead of a popular hit, he performed a bilingual piece that included a verse in English thanking America for welcoming his dream, and a verse in Filipino honoring the homeland that raised him. The judges watched in silence again. The audience cried again. Miguel did not win the season. But he won something bigger. Simon Cowell later invited him to perform at a special international event celebrating unity through music. Miguel received a scholarship offer from a music academy. His mother, watching from backstage, said her son had finally turned pain into purpose. The boy who once sang barefoot in a small town now stood on world stages, carrying 2 flags in his heart. And every time he sings Lupang Hinirang, he says he feels his father listening. This is not just a story about a talent show. This is a story about courage. About loss. About how a child's voice crossed oceans and reminded the world that music has no